thank you all for being here for this masterclass on the role of AI in marketing, driving growth via customer acquisition and engagement by Mr. Vedanarayanan Vedantham. He's here in the backstage. I don't know why, I'm feeling a little shy that he's here. So please, sir, can you come here and then we will welcome you to the stage. But still, a huge round of applause for Mr. Veda, as he likes to be called. Now, without further ado, I call our president, Dr. Mahesh Rao, to please come on to the podium and introduce and give a welcome address about TiE Mysuru.
Good evening. I'm not hearing you. There is not enough energy here. I see a lot of young people in here trying to learn about AI, learn about machine learning, but I'm not seeing the voice from you. Can I hear a loud good evening, please? Thank you. It's a good Mysore day, nice, cozy, little bit of rains, and we all had a good amount of pakoras to warm ourselves and a good tea. And thank you very much for coming in. I take this opportunity to welcome all of you into the TiE's, monthly event program. This month, the program is all about understanding artificial intelligence, machine learning, and use it in our companies or our institutions' marketing activities and various other activities as such. So we have Mr. Veda, a Microsoft executive who has done this and seen it and has run it, being here, trying to educate us and trying to take us through few case studies and things like that. In the meantime, it's customary for me to mention about TiE. TiE is a worldwide organization which was established in 1992 in Silicon Valley. And today it is in 15 countries and growing. And we have more than 60 chapters all over the world. And Mysore chapter is about 5 years old. And in the meantime, a couple of years we lost because of the COVID. But we have been very active chapter, trying to do all the things which are required to make sure that the entrepreneurial ecosystem develops. And as such, we do have a newsletter which comes out every month just after the event. We want you to participate. We want you to write articles into it so that we can publish it and everybody can see it. And for the young minds who are here, please take this as an opportunity to interact with the people who have been here and who are entrepreneurs and who can help you out by mentoring, educating, incubating, funding, and of course, networking. Thank you very much. And now I call upon the Master of Ceremony to talk to you about. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rao. Now I would like to take this opportunity to read a little bit of the bio of Mr. Veda. Probably the last time any person might read it because ChatGPT 4.0 is out and I've been told there is voice functionality in it, so somebody might read it in much more clarity and much more error-free way, but I'll try to do my best now. So Mr. Veda is a marketing leader with experience in Microsoft, formerly at Razorpay and HealthifyMe. He has helped build and grow multiple digital products and brands across fintech, health tech, edtech, and online travel. He possesses a varied mix of global experiences spanning digital marketing, brand consulting, product management, and business development. He has consulted with early stage startups directly or through incubators on branding and digital marketing and helped them evaluate product market fitment. He has been a part of multiple TiE chapters, NEXEA Accelerator in SEA, and Atal Innovation Mission with the Government of India, amongst others. He's also a visiting faculty members at various B schools, where he has conducted numerous programs on digital marketing, mobile marketing, influencer marketing, services marketing, and product marketing. Some of these schools where he has conducted programs include IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Bangalore, NUS Singapore, University of Wellington, University of Vermont, IIM Indore, and IIM Kashipur. He's also spoken at numerous digital conferences worldwide on various topics. His most popular speaking engagement include the Arab E-commerce Summit in Dubai, eTail Asia in 2015 and 2016, Strategic Planning Innovation Summit in New York, Digital Marketing Innovation Summit in San Francisco, Asian Strategic Leadership Institute's Tourism Summit in Kuala Lumpur, Scandinavian E-Business Summit in Sweden, and various others. Prior to Microsoft, he have worked and helped grow multiple startups from pre-unicorn to unicorn stages and beyond, some of which are Razorpay, HealthifyMe, Simplilearn, among various others. He is a graduate from INSEAD in Singapore's CMO Academy, a member of India's CMO Council Advisory Board, and a graduate from one of India's top 5 B schools, SPJIMR in Mumbai. It's an honor to have such a distinguished person here with us today, and we look forward to this enriching session. Once again, let us all join hands in welcoming Mr. Veda here. The stage is all yours, sir.
First of all, a big thank you to TiE Mysuru, Mahesh sir, for having me over, and my good friend Mahesh as well. Thank you so much for having me over. Very excited to be here. I love Mysuru and been here quite often, and great to have an opportunity and an excuse to be back here once again. Like the MC mentioned, I wear multiple hats in life. I serve as a marketing leader at Microsoft. I take care of Azure, cloud, go-to-market across Asia. Played marketing leadership roles in some of the other brands. I'll take you through some case studies of a lot of these brands, of their growth stories over the course of this session. Fractional CMO with a few early stage startups and a visiting professor in marketing. So we've got, I think, approximately an hour and a half, am I correct, ahead of us. So give or take 10-15 minutes. So what we'll try and do over the next hour and a half is this. So we'll try and understand to begin with. So the topic for today's session, of course, is where is AI being used in marketing, right? Both from a customer acquisition perspective and from an engagement and nurture perspective. Now, if you think about marketing, I see a lot of students here as well. There are two large objectives that you as a marketer have, right? One is you need to acquire new customers for your business. That's objective number one. The second objective is how do you engage and nurture people who have already made it through your marketing funnel, who already have some kind of understanding of your brand. That's objective number two. So what we'll try and do over the course of this session is we'll try and understand where are the places where AI is playing a role, where I have first-hand seen AI play a role across both of these objectives, both from a customer acquisition perspective, second from the perspective of engagement and nurture. We'll try and understand both of this. So we'll understand how AI is used in customer acquisition. I'll take you through what are my favorite AI tools in marketing. And I want to put in a disclaimer here, right? This is a fast evolving space. I keep revising this slide every time I go and make a new presentation, right? And I had to change some of these names. The last time I made this presentation was in IBS Hyderabad. That was like, I think 3-4 weeks ago. And I've made one change out of the 6 tools that I mentioned already. Right, so this is a fast evolving space. A lot of marketers like myself, like yourself, are still playing catch up. Let's be honest about it. I'm just putting it out there in all humility. But this is a fast evolving space, and it's absolutely important for all of us here who are marketers, who are leading marketing teams, who are entrepreneurs, business owners, to embrace this new reality so that we can drive growth for our business. What I will also do, which is point number 4, this is a question, this is one of my favorite sections, and the reason I've put it here is when I interact with a lot of entrepreneurs like yourself, one of the frequent questions I get asked is, all of this is fine, but for my business, how do I know what needs to be my number one priority from a customer acquisition perspective for acquiring new customers across the entire digital ecosystem? So I'll give you a simple framework for customer acquisition. We'll also connect that back to AI again, and then I'll take you through what were some of the secret sauces that worked at Razorpay, at HealthifyMe from a customer acquisition perspective, where AI also played a role. I'll also give you a sneak peek into the Microsoft Bing AI and Copilot, which is a question I get asked often. We'll also just take a sneak peek into AI is great, but the foundation of AI is good data, and what kind of metrics and data should you actually measure to know if your marketing is on the right track. We'll just take a sneak peek into that. Then we'll shift into lead engagement and nurturing. And there again, I'll take you through how AI is playing a role in marketing automation. Marketing automation platforms have been around for donkey's years, but we'll try and understand where AI is playing a role there in both in automation and in lead scoring. We'll try and understand that. I'll take you through one of what is, in my view, I might be biased, but in what in my view is one of the best examples of engagement and nurturing in the B2C space, which is at Simplilearn. I'll take you through a case study of that, and then hopefully time permitting, we'll do a demo of some of these popular tools, which I absolutely love. Now, before we begin, I just want to give you a sense check. I'm part of this organization called Marketing Management Association, which is a India-wide consortium of marketing executives, CMOs, heads of marketing, etc. And that was a survey which was done with a lot of the CMOs, the chief marketing officers, who are a part of this MMA organization, in terms of what is the level of maturity of AI adoption with marketing teams, with their respective organizations. A lot of people essentially said, you know what, it's partially integrated, we are still experimenting, we are still tinkering with this, etc. So I just wanted to, this just builds upon the point that I was making earlier, that a lot of marketers are still coming to grips with how AI is actually playing a role in marketing. One of the biggest gaps that they actually noticed for greater adoption of AI in marketing is the fact that it's not fully understood. There is a huge skilling gap. They need a lot of people to get upskilled and reskilled for them to be able to use AI in marketing really, really well. These were the two most popular use cases that came up: creative optimization and customer insights and analytics. These were the two most popular and often used use cases for AI in marketing. One of the most, and within creative optimization again, multiple use cases come in, right? So one is, if I have to start off by planning a campaign, a new campaign, AI is a great start for me to be able to come out with a long list of campaign ideas. And then I can sit down with my team, bring in my business nuance, my business context, and come out with a short list, which builds on top of that long list. The other thing, of course, is content writing. Any job that involves a lot of grunt work in coming out to the output, which is ad creation, management, be it on Google AdWords, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, content creation, a lot of this is getting outsourced to AI now. I don't know how many of you have heard of this news. BuzzFeed, one of the world's largest publishing platforms, actually has decided to have all of their content writing being done by AI platforms. So a lot of different ways AI is playing a role under the larger umbrella of creative optimization, which includes the grunt work and the creative work of preparing new content, plus of course the optimization of campaign ideas and creative output. I'm just going to share with you what are my popular AI tools in marketing. Like I said, this is a fast evolving one. Jasper, and we'll do a demo of all of these tools towards the end of the session as well. Jasper, which is a fantastic tool for campaign creation, content writing, etc. SEMrush, I'm sure a lot of you would know. SEMrush and Google Ads, these are all seasoned products, right? Both of these are fantastic tools. SEMrush is one of the world's best keyword analytics platforms. I'll give you a demo of this as well. Along with SEO Moz, SEMrush is my personal favorite for being one of the best keyword analytics platforms out there. We'll do a quick demo of that. Tela, which is a fantastic video editing platform. I'm using this myself. I'm trying to launch a website to sell a bunch of online courses. I'm using Tela as we speak, and I'm discovering new things. It's a fantastic tool. I'll give you a sense of that. Fantastic video editing platform. AppsFlyer, a lot of you would know this. It's an app attribution platform for marketing, ROI. And of course, TypeDream, which is another fantastic AI-powered website creation tool. Now, if you're looking to create websites with a coder today, you're living in the Neolithic world. You can create websites literally in another 10 minutes today with all of these AI tools available. TypeDream is one of the better ones. So these are some of my personal favorite tools. If I give this presentation a month from now, some of these names might change, because like I said, this is a fast evolving space. This does not, however, mean that humans are redundant. I just wanted to clarify this and put this disclaimer out there while we get into this session on AI. There is still a lot of opportunity for humans to play a significant role in marketing, despite the advent of AI. There are a couple of places where humans will still continue to play the lead role. A lot of these AI-driven platforms, right, which are powered by some of the greatest LLMs known to mankind, are like some of the smartest human minds you will ever meet. They're like Einstein, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, these kinds of minds, right? But what they don't know is they know nothing about you. They know nothing about your business. They know nothing about your context. And that's where the human element comes in, wherein there are a couple of areas where I have noticed AI still falls short despite all of the advances that we've seen. One is deep data analysis and the ability to make the right decision for your business, bringing into play your business nuances and your business context, which only you and you only have, right? A human being who's working in that company has that level of subjective knowledge, that depth of knowledge. That is something AI platforms still don't have. So the ability to make the right call and the right decision based on the output that is given by the AI platform is still a superpower that a human still holds. That at least is my view. Now, before we dive in further, what I want to leave you with is a simple prioritization framework for you to understand how you can use a lot of these AI and digital platforms as you try to achieve growth and customer acquisition for your business. A question that I'm often asked is, listen Veda, I'm not Amazon, I'm not Flipkart, I'm not Microsoft, or I'm not Google. I don't have an infinite war chest of dollars or rupees which I can spend on marketing. I understand marketing is a team sport with multiple channels playing a role in customer acquisition. But if I had to prioritize one particular channel relative to others for driving acquisition for my business, what would that be and how would I make that decision? Right? So I'll give you a simple rule of thumb over the next few seconds for you to make these kinds of everyday prioritization decisions for your business, depending on the category you operate in. Now, given before you here are the usual suspects, Facebook, SEM, SEO, LinkedIn, which are the usual suspects, which are the most often used digital platforms, which again use AI, by the way, for customer acquisition. I'm sure all of you here in the audience understand these names. For those of you who might not know SEM and SEM, a quick 30-second crash course. SEM is search engine marketing. SEO is search engine optimization. I'm sure all of you understand this. Very simply put, let's say I'm looking for resorts in Mysuru, right? And I typed it on Google. Every time you, and this is for the benefit of a lot of the students, the younger students who've joined us here today, this might be very basic for some of the more seasoned marketers here, I apologize. But at least for the benefit of the students here, for anything that I enter on Google and I press enter and I click on search, a real-time virtual auction actually happens. Now it's very similar to an auction in a real world. Let's say I'm looking to auction this clicker and you've got various people bidding for that clicker. The person who bids the highest in the real world wins that auction, buys this clicker. In a very similar way, you've got various advertisers or brands who bid for the right to serve their ad in the first spot in the search results that come in for that particular keyword. Now let's say booking.com is bid $100, Make My Trip is bid $50. While there are multiple parameters that influence whose ad comes up on top, in the search results, when you see your search results, let's say you're looking to book, for, you've typed in that keyword, right? Resorts in Mysuru. In the search results, you would see the first few ones would have the ad tag against them. It would say sponsored or ad. So booking.com would be on top. I've oversimplified the example, obviously, but Make My Trip would be below. And if you had to click on the booking.com ad, booking.com gets charged $100 by Google, which is PPC, pay per click. This is called cost per click or pay per click advertising. That's SEM. Now, all of the efforts that you as a marketer or as an entrepreneur sitting on the other side undertake to make sure that for relevant keywords, your business's ad comes up on top in the search results is referred to as SEM, search engine marketing. You can do all of this for free on AdWords, which is an adwords.google.com. You can go sign up for free. The reason I mentioned Google and SEM synonymously is because Google has almost a monopoly of the search market in India. So while you do have Bing ads, I am from Microsoft myself, it occupies a very small market share. It's 96% market share is with Google when it comes to search. So when we say SEM, we say Google AdWords, at least in the Indian context, almost synonymously. That's SEM. Now, if you had to scroll a little further down in the same page, you would see a bunch of organic listings which do not have the ad tag against them. These are based purely on merit. They've got nothing to do with who has bid the highest, who has paid the most money, right? It doesn't matter if booking.com has bid $100, etc. These are based purely on a meritocratic decision by Google's organic search ranking algorithm on whose website has the freshest content, the most relevant content, the best user experience, least latency, loads really quickly. Based on a variety of parameters like this, it decides which link to bubble up on top. Now, if you had to click on these ads, you would not get charged any money, your brand wouldn't get charged any money. All of the efforts that you undertake again as an entrepreneur, as a marketer, to make sure that your website's landing pages have a good chance of bubbling up higher and higher. In Google's organic search ranking algorithm is referred to as SEO, search engine optimization. Now, having said that foundation, let's dive in. Now, I'm going to take Mahesh's example. I hope you don't mind, Mahesh. Let's say Mahesh runs a company and he's trying to understand how does he decide which of these platforms to make as his number one priority from a customer acquisition perspective. That's his first question. Now, in an attempt to answer this question, there are a couple of ways in which he can do it, right? As an entrepreneur, he has this gut-based instinct. I sell t-shirts online. You know what? I'm mass. I sell mental wellness programs online. I'm niche, right? So the first thing he has to answer in terms of which channel is my top choice is, am I mass or am I niche? He can use this basis, a gut-based instinct, or he can use data to help him make this decision, wherein you can do multiple things, right? You can open up a keyword analytics platform like an SEMrush, which we will do a quick demo of towards the end of the session, or an SEO Moz, which give you both current and forecasted keyword trends, saying that if he searches for a keyword like buy t-shirts online, and he enters that either on the Google Keyword Planner on Google AdWords or within SEMrush or within SEO Moz, those platforms will actually give Mahesh a sense of what is the kind of current keyword search volume for these keywords, and using AI it actually projects a future looking forecast of what the keyword trends could look like in future. Now what does these keyword trends represent really? What do those numbers represent? If you think about it. These numbers are nothing but a surrogate for customer demand, right? I don't know why in this day and age people waste time in statistical sampling and door-to-door sampling, because all of the insights that you need are waiting to be mined from keyword insights. So all of the key motivation points, inertia points, key customer need states that you want to understand, all of those insights are available within the keyword universe. You need to, so one of the critical elements of any new age digital startups toolkit from a digital marketing perspective is a keyword research tool. You can either invest in an SEO Moz or a SEMrush. SEMrush is my personal favorite, or even a Google Keyword Planner, right, which is available within Google AdWords, which is for free, right? You could use any of these platforms, which give you a sense of what is the kind of keyword search volume, which is nothing but a sense of, which is a surrogate signal for demand patterns. It tells you how much of search in what areas are actually happening for specific keywords which might be related to your business. Now in this case, it's not a perfect science, it is a grayscale, but Mahesh can go with the assumption that if the monthly keyword search volumes for core keywords related to his business, for his category, if they are in excess of 25,000 searches every month, assuming his target market is India, right? For a country which has the kind of internet population size that India has, if the monthly keyword searches are 25,000 plus, then he can assume that the category he is operating in to be mass. Otherwise, he is niche. What does mass mean? It means that he is lucky enough to be operating in a category where somebody else has already done the hard work, and user behavior is already manifesting on Google search. So he needs to make Google search, a combination of SEM and SEO, a primary focus for his business. Why? Because it's common sense. He may not be Amazon, he may not be Flipkart, he may not be Microsoft, he may not have the huge war chest of funds, right, millions of dollars to spend in marketing. But what he can do is he can piggyback, he can have the common sense to piggyback on existing customer demand patterns which are relevant to his business, which are already manifesting on Google search, right? He can ride that wave and piggyback on that wave. So he makes search a priority. Now what happens if he's not that lucky, right, which might be the case for a lot of you folks, right? You're trying to create a category yourself, right? You don't have a lot of existing keyword demand patterns on Google search which you can piggyback on. What do you do? Which is quite often possible. You don't directly run into Facebook's arms, right? What you do is you ask yourself an additional question. Am I operating in a category which is very high on personal connect? And can I, as a marketer, inject a very strong visual element into my marketing communication, right? That's a question. For example, when I first joined, and we'll go through this in the HealthifyMe case study as well, when I first joined HealthifyMe, I had a huge culture shock. Because in all of my previous experiences, it was always Google search which was the #1 ROI driver. Facebook was always more of a glorified brand channel with no real attribution to ROI. Whereas at HealthifyMe, how many of you here have heard of HealthifyMe? Oh, good. So we've done a decent job of marketing. How many of you are paid customers of HealthifyMe? Anybody? The marketing funnel looks bad right there, as you can see. The awareness is a lot, but the funnel is like really looking narrow, so we got to work on that. So the point I wanted to make is HealthifyMe, like you know, is a freemium application, health and fitness mobile application, 25 million plus users. Calorie counting service is free. So if you've had some authentic Mysore cuisine, you've had a Jovar Bakri for lunch, etc., all of that, you'll be able to know how many calories you've consumed, all of that. And that's available for free. It's like a daily diary. The premium services, personalized health, fitness, yoga plans, right, nutrition plans, etc. Now there, it's about health and fitness, it's about weight loss. It's very close to the personal identity of an individual. You're enabling somebody to discover a healthier and fitter version of themselves, which is as close to the personal identity of an individual as it can get. So, and we used in our marketing comms, and I'll go through this again, like I said, in the subsequent slides, a lot of customer testimonial-led communication, right, which spoke about their transformation. All of this check, works really well on Facebook, which is why Facebook worked well for us. This may not be the case for other categories. So for health tech, proactive health tech, not the case like a Practo, which is reactive, where a person is already sick and they want to find a doctor, right? In a HealthifyMe or a cult fit case, the person is not actually sick. They don't want to fall sick in future. They want to get ahead of the curve. So in cases like this, or in fashion, Myntra, Nykaa, jewelry, cases, Carrot Lane, cases like these, Facebook works really well. Of course, a lot of these are more applicable to B2C. If you're operating in the B2B space, again, LinkedIn becomes an obvious choice if and only if the key in the accounts that you're going after, in the companies that you're going after, there are two personae who matter. In Microsoft, we use the term rooms of the house who matter, right? One is your decision maker, second is your influencer for that decision. If both of these happen to be white-collar professionals who are fairly active on LinkedIn, you make LinkedIn a focus. At HealthifyMe, again, we had a strong employee wellness program. A lot of people don't know this. We also had a B2B wing where we went after the CHRO, Chief Human Resource Officer. So we essentially ran LinkedIn ABM campaigns, account-based marketing campaigns, targeting anybody who was a director of HR and above, or a CXO, even if they were outside of HR, because they were senior enough to influence the decision. So the decision maker was HR, because they owned the employee wellness mandate, but your influencer was anybody who was senior enough in the organization. Of course, this may not always work. Digital is not always the answer, and I've mentored multiple B2B edtech companies which have actually sold to schools, right? And in a lot of cases, the school principal is the key decision maker. Not a lot of school principals are there on LinkedIn, at least in India, unfortunately. While you could still use a Facebook and a YouTube to go after them, you're using a very mass platform to going after a very niche audience, and it's not going to be ROI positive. In such cases, I in fact recommend that you just work with a channel partner and you bundle your offering along with theirs, because these are long sales cycles. It makes sense for you to do a joint go-to-market with these channel partners. Now coming back to our original train of thought, we saw what happens if Mahesh operates in a mass category. We saw what happens if Mahesh is operating in a category which is niche, high on personal connect. But what happens if Mahesh is super unlucky, right? He's operating in what I like to call a double whammy category, right? Where he's operating in a niche category. And to make matters worse, the nature of the category is such that the personal connect is not a lot, which can happen again, right? You can't take it personally, pun intended. So what do? Which is exactly the problem that we had at Razorpay, right? I'm sure all of you here know Razorpay. It's India's largest payment aggregation service. I used to take care of the SMB and the startup business at Razorpay, and it has multiple lines of business. It has a payments gateway, payment link business, which takes care of the inward money movement cycle, helps businesses to receive funds from their customers. Neo-banking service, which is the outward money movement service, which essentially competes against banks, against NEFT and RTGS, helps banks to pay their raw material suppliers, vendor partners, payroll processing, etc., and a working capital line of credit as well. Now, in this case, we had a very interesting problem statement, which is exactly what Mahesh is facing, right? Where, like I said, it's India's largest B2B payments platform, but the problem was this. While the TAM is a lot, the total addressable market is a lot, you've got to be very clear that you don't confuse low keyword search volumes with low TAM. TAM stands for total addressable market. In the Razorpay case, we were selling to startups and SMBs, people like yourself, right? Entrepreneurs like yourself. And that market is huge in India. But the problem was the core keyword search trends were just not manifesting on Google search. People were not searching for keywords like online payments, payment gateway, right? Online payment solutions for e-commerce websites. Core keywords relevant to my business. Those behaviors were not manifesting and bubbling up on Google search. The need was latent. It was below the surface. So that was why I said it is niche. It's not because the TAM is low. The TAM is huge in India in the startup and SMB market. It is just that the keyword search volumes were just not high enough. That's what I mean by niche. So it was fairly niche because you didn't have a lot of search volumes. And to make matters worse, it's online payments, right? So we were selling to somebody like yourself, an entrepreneur. Somebody like you is not going to wake up in the morning, jump out of bed, get excited that they want to use a payments product, right? Or they want to use a payment gateway service. It's not like health and fitness. It's not like fashion on Myntra. I can't take it personally. That's how the category is. That's how it's wired. It's a fairly functional category. The emotional connect is not a lot with the prospective customer. So in this case, again, Facebook wasn't really a fit for us. A lot of people think when you're marketing to SMBs and startups, just as an aside, they think it's B2B marketing. Technically, yes, it is B2B, but the growth and marketing playbooks you need for being successful when you're marketing to a startup or an SMB are closer to B2C than B2B. It's not quite Swiggy, Zomato style B2C, but it's closer to the B2C end of the spectrum, because at the end of the day, you're marketing to an entrepreneur, you're marketing to an individual. These are small companies, 2, 3, 5, 10-member companies at best. And the entrepreneur, the individual is whom you're marketing to. So it is, a lot of people think startup SMB is B2B marketing. Yes, theoretically, yes. but the growth playbooks are closer to B2C end of the spectrum than B2B. So I just thought I'll clarify that. So in this case again, Facebook wasn't a choice because the personal connect is not a lot, and which is why what we did was something which was interesting. From our keyword research, we used SEMrush, by the way. What we noticed was from the keyword analytics platform, we noticed that while yes, the keyword search volumes for core business-centric keywords, dhanda-centric keywords were fairly low, right? What we noticed was entrepreneurs were searching for 3 thematic areas of keywords. A, digital literacy. And we decided to create content around that, right? How do I use social media? How do I use Instagram for growing my business? How do I build my social media brand presence? Questions like this. B, financial literacy. A lot of entrepreneurs come from a tech background. They have no idea how to read a P&L and a balance sheet. They have no idea how it works. How to read a P&L and a balance sheet as a first-time entrepreneur. We created content like this. Third, compliance. A lot of them don't understand GST. Creating GST tax calculators for them. Now you might argue, and Mahesh might say, Veda, listen, what is the relevance for these content pieces to Razorpay's business? Yes, Mahesh is absolutely right. Not a lot of relevance. But the relevance for these content pieces to my target customer is a lot. I'm still not bringing college kids in. I'm creating content for the entrepreneur persona, right? And I want to make sure that I bring them into my funnel. And more importantly, the kind of keyword search volumes for these kinds of keywords are significantly larger than the kind of keyword search volumes for core dhanda, business-centric keywords, which is online payments, payment gateways, etc. So we went slightly outside of the realm of relevance of the business from a keyword search and a targeting perspective, and we created content for these 3 thematic areas. Now, like I said, these will not, the prospects that we were bringing in, the funnel that we were creating, the marketing funnel that we were creating by attracting people in through these content pieces, they wouldn't have the highest levels of intent, absolutely, like I would get if I were to run a targeted performance marketing ad. It wouldn't have this, if my regular sales cycle is 4 weeks, if it takes 4 weeks for a lead to become a paying customer, somebody coming in here, it will take much longer. Conversion rates would be poor. But we used only SEO, right? We didn't spend a lot of media dollars in attracting this long tail of users. And like I said, given the keyword search volumes were larger, the brand was getting exposed to a relevant audience, keep in mind. Significantly larger eyeball universe of relevant audience. I was able to bring them into my funnel, engage, nurture them over time, convert them into paying customers. While they did not turn into customers in the immediate term, they were still customers for the medium and long term for me. And that's how we managed to grow a brand. This was what we had done at Razorpay. Now, just quickly doing a quick sneak peek into some of the things, some of the key acquisition secret sauces that we had at HealthifyMe. Like I said, HealthifyMe, India's largest health and fitness mobile application, freemium app, which is free plus premium, which is the business model, free service, which is the hook or the carrot, the engagement magnet, which draws the fish in, so to speak, right? Which is the calorie counting service, which is like a daily diary. So I've done 12 Surya Namaskars in the morning. I've gone for a 5-kilometer jog. I'll know how many calories I've burned. I've had a Madhur Vada for breakfast. The app will recognize MyFitnessPal. How many of you have heard of MyFitnessPal? It's a global equivalent of HealthifyMe, right? It's the same, but a MyFitnessPal would not recognize an idli. It would not know what a Madhur Vada is. It's not customized for Indian cuisine. So HealthifyMe would recognize that regardless of whether the cuisine is from Kanyakumari or Kashmir or Mizoram, any far-flung part of India, it would recognize that. So that's the free aspect. The premium, like I said, personalized health, fitness, yoga plans, nutrition, fitness and yoga plans rather. Some people want to lose weight. Some people want to gain muscle. Some people want to gain strength and flexibility. Some people want to gain a 6-pack ab before Valentine's Day. I see a lot of youngsters laughing. We used to get a lot of these requests, right? I'm having Valentine's Day coming up, I want a 6-pack ab, right? So depending on whatever are the health goals of every individual, creating those plans for them. So we started off by using just human nutritionists and human fitness coaches and human yoga coaches for delivering these plans. And I'll take you through towards the end of the session how we actually managed to bring in an AI-powered nutritionist as well. We called her, it was a she, we called her Ria, right, who actually helped us unlock access to newer audiences. I'll take you through that as well towards the end. Biggest problem statement is inertia, right? Like I said, because here, which we are grappling with, right? If you look at our key customer, as a marketer, your biggest job is to get people to cross that inertia barrier. Because you need people to, and of course driving relatability, right? You need people to hand over their health and fitness needs in the hands of a mobile application, right? Which is a big thing to ask for, right? That was one of the biggest challenges as a marketer, and our biggest competitor was CultFit, and still continues to be CultFit. And as you know, CultFit goes about positioning its brand, and I just want to give this set this context before I dive into the next slide. CultFit goes about positioning its brand in a completely different way than a HealthifyMe, and I just want to take you through that, just for you to have a sense of perspective. This is how stereotypical CultFit ads look like.
For the fun of it.
For the rush of it. The chill of it.
The ease of it.
The taste of it. Just make the most of it.
For the love of fit, get all of it on the CureFit app and be better every day.
Found most recommended app as HealthifyMe. Hi, my name is Christian and I'm 35 years old. I work for an IT corporate industry in Bangalore. So I started using this app from the month of March 2019. It's been 6 months now. I'm using this app. When I started, I was 94. After using this app 4 to 5 months, I am at 74. So I lost around 20 kg. Smart Plan I found very intelligent because it has individual smart diet what it provides you. It has a calorie mention, and as per Smart Plan, you can eat 300 to 350 calories on your each meal. So for example, your diet plan says you need to eat drumstick with couple of chapatis. So if you do not have drumstick in your store, so of course simply you can find alternative dishes from the same menu sections which contains the equivalent calories, and simply you can have that in your diet. My favorite feature about this app, it actually logs your daily meals routine, and it actually tells you have eaten extra calories today, and which actually pushes you hard to extra workout to balance a day. Another thing most I like about this app, the menu section with the individual dishes and the recommendation for alternate dishes which you can actually eat, and once you achieve the extra milestone, it actually allows you to eat an extra cheat meal, which is of course the best part of it. So after this transformation, I feel great. I feel so much energetic. I can run faster. I do gym every day. I have a small kid. Whole day I play with him once I'm back from my office, and after that also I don't feel tired. So it is amazing. The people around me have been stunned, after seeing such transformation, and they were keep on asking, how I was managed to do it. And trust me, it feels great to advise them. And trust me, that is the reason I have been in touch with HealthifyMe team to create this testimonial so that I can inspire many others. I 200% recommend this app to my friends and family, especially the Smart Plan. And if you are really serious about losing your weight, don't think about it, go for it. Cheers to HealthifyMe.
So, any observation? Thank you. And I have some observations on that as well. Yeah, thank you. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah. I'll come to you after her. Yeah. Yeah, correct. Yeah, yes, sir. Absolutely. Celebrity, yes. Yes, regular person here. Yeah. 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 Yeah, I think, yeah. Interesting. Okay. One final observation then. Yes, sir.
I felt I could relate to this person who was talking. He appeared to be day to day.
Sure.
I met him on the street rather than that.
Absolutely. So great points from everybody. Just to quickly summarize, and this was a conscious thing, it wasn't by design, by the way. You have a lot of people who already look like Greek gods, right? Models already look very good, very skinny. You have got Hrithik Roshan, Milind Soman, Hardik Pandya, KL Rahul, all of these celebrities coming in, right? Who are talking about health as a very esoteric thing. They don't talk about weight loss. They don't talk about the W word, which is weight loss. Whereas here, and the other thing which you notice is this is very fitness-led. Whereas in the HealthifyMe case, it is more nutrition-led. It talks about the food that you take with fitness as an afterthought. Whereas in the cult case, it was the other way around. Right? It was more fitness-led with food as an afterthought. And at HealthifyMe, the biggest belief was food is the biggest determinant of your overall health and well-being. Fitness will help you release a few endorphins. But food is the bigger determinant as compared to the workouts that you do. So which is what you would see. And plus, like a lot of you said, this is more testimonial-led, more relatable, etc. And this was again through keyword research that we had done, right? Wherein we found a couple of different things. One is we noticed that the biggest thing, and this is again a thing that often came through, right? We should make the brand, this is a debate that you might also face in your startups. We should make the brand aspirational, right? It needs to be seen as cool. We can't, and this was a debate we had at HealthifyMe, we can't talk about weight loss It pulls down the sanctity of the brand. It makes the brand appear uncool if you're talking about weight loss. But we noticed from keyword research and the AI trends that projected future growth of these keyword trends, that weight loss is what Indians are searching for. India is now one of the obesity capitals of the world. There is an obesity epidemic in our country, right? And we saw that weight loss is what people are searching for. So it's good to call out not just the elephant, but the T-Rex in the room, the Tyrannosaurus Rex in the room, which is weight loss, which is what, at the end of the day, you're creating a brand not for yourself. You're creating it for your customers. And you need to speak and say things which are relevant for your customers. So we decided we're going to talk about weight loss. We'll just not shy away from talking about the things that people are actually searching for, which is weight loss. So we wanted it because that's the biggest market, the huge volume of searches happening for weight loss. And we said that this is again a very sensitive topic, right? It's very close to the personal identity of an individual. So we said we're not going to go with celebrities, although more recent ads, there have been cases where Saif Ali Khan's daughter also came in for one of the ads, but that was a one-off, that was an exception. But in general, philosophy always was we'll work with everyday people like you and me. And the third thing, which again came through data, was an observation that came through. I noticed that a lot of the youngsters who made the observations, they liked the cult ad more. A lot of the older folks who actually gave the feedback, they liked the HealthifyMe ad more. And one of the observations we had was the younger demographic crowd was just not converting. Right? It's a freemium model, like I said, free, no disrespect to all the youngsters sitting here. Yeah? But what we noticed was we had a free to paid user conversion. The free users were the people who just use calorie counting. Paid users are the people who pay for the services, either a personalized nutrition plan, fitness plan, yoga plan, etc. We noticed that the younger, when we started off HealthifyMe, we thought like everybody else that the millennial was the ideal customer persona. The young crowd was the ideal customer persona. Turns out it wasn't. It was actually people from the older bracket, people from my age bracket, for example, who converted well, because these were the people who were less fit, who are more prone to lifestyle conditions like a diabetes or a hypertension, etc., and hence were more paranoid about their health and had a greater ability to pay. So these were the three reasons, right? So we noticed that the older people, they resonated better with this kind of communication. A lot of this communication was targeted specifically for older demographic cohorts on Facebook, because we noticed that those were the ones that were actually converting. The free users were just not converting. We came out with a solution for that later, which was again RIA, which I'll talk about later as well. So these were some of the differences. I just wanted to set that context before we move on. Like I said, all of our communication was video-led, customer testimonial-led, high empathy communication that talks about before and after transformation, life transformation that they had. And I lost these many kilograms of weight, etc. Check. Works well on Facebook. And the critical element, the most important element of our mobile marketing recipe, this was an app-only play, was Facebook, for the reasons that I mentioned earlier. Huge culture shock when I first joined HealthifyMe, because it had never happened before for me. Whereas here, the roles were in reverse. Facebook, we had like close to 100 different campaigns which are running concurrently at any given point in time, which were hyper-targeted, right? In some cases, we let the AI algorithms run free, and I'll share some more details of that. In some cases, they had some very strong human guardrails in terms of which campaign is targeting what audience and so on. So, but it was hyper-personalized. So the ad that I would see would feature, a persona who is from my demographic segment, right? So it would feature somebody who's an older man would be featured in the ad that I would see. Whereas, say, one of the youngsters here, if you had to see an ad, you would see an ad featuring a persona who is more similar to your demographic age bracket, right? So it was hyper-personalization was used so that we had a specific creative which was mapped to a specific demographic cohort, and we had multiple Facebook ad campaigns running. Some ad campaigns, we let it run free, wherein we said optimize for conversion, and we let the AI algorithms run free. In some cases, we had specific manual targeting which was done by humans as well in the marketing team. The key thing here is, of course, creatives, right? What this was creative fatigue, like a lot of you know, is rampant on Facebook. What do I mean by creative fatigue? The creative just stops working after 2 to 3 weeks if you run it on Facebook. So if you have a video, a testimonial video, which you put up on Facebook, it just gets fatigued after 2-3 weeks. What do I mean by that? The creative just stops resonating with the audience. You just don't get as many likes, engagement. People don't view that particular video as much on Facebook. So the biggest thing was we need to have a long pipeline of videos so that we could continuously keep replenishing the creative library, so that you could keep running newer and newer ads on Facebook. So we had a separate dedicated team of 2 people whose only job was this. They had to curate the list of existing customers, reach out to them, have a conversation with them, make sure that they have a good story to tell, they look good in front of the camera, they don't get stage fright, right? They're articulate, and they had a good story to narrate, right? And then go to their place, get the shoot done, chop it up, have multiple edits which the marketing team can use, 60 second, 30 second, 10 second. So what would happen is I would hit, say, ma'am, with a 60-second ad first. When she sees the same ad, say a week later, she would see a shorter edited version because she's already consumed my longer form ad. And then towards the end, she would see a shorter form ad because I can cut to the chase. I don't need to show her the entire story. It was a clear example of personalization at scale, some driven by AI, some driven through manual interventions. Like I said, a 40-something who's suffering from hypertension would see an ad featuring himself or herself, as opposed to, say, a young man who's looking to get a six-pack ab. Like I said, Facebook was the #1 acquisition lever, but we had a very interesting experience with Google. Like I said, the roles were in reverse in all of my previous companies. Here it was different because Google introduced, some of you might be aware of this term, something called as UAC campaigns, right? Universal App Campaigns, which is now the de facto way for you to run app install campaigns in the digital ecosystem. Now, when it was first launched a few years ago, everybody hated this. Marketers hated this because you had to give up control. Nobody likes to give up control, right? You essentially had to say in Google, Baba, we trust, right? What this construct essentially entails is, as a marketer, you would give Google your creatives, your landing pages, and Google would decide who to run the ad to, when, and in what channel, what platform. You could define the overall sandbox, saying I want to run ads only to people in India, which is my target market, or only to people living in metro cities in India, Bangalore, Chennai, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Delhi, etc. Or Southeast Asia, Middle East, whatever your target market is. But beyond that, you had very limited control. So when we first launched UAC campaigns, again, the results were pretty poor, right? But what we did was we persisted with it, and we implemented something called as the Google Pixel, right? Which is a small piece of JavaScript code, for those of you who are technically inclined, which essentially executes or runs and sends information back to its masters. Think of it as a spy or a bowl, which sits within your application and sends information back to its masters. So in a very similar way, we had this Google Pixel embedded within the mobile applications code for specific events which we wanted to measure. So for example, Mahesh, I hope you don't mind, I'll take your example again. Let's say Mahesh, if you were to think of a simplistic example, let's say Mahesh comes and registers on the HealthifyMe app. Not that he needs to lose weight, he looks perfectly fit, but let's say he registers on the HealthifyMe app. Now he has just completed an upstream life cycle event in his life cycle of engagement with the application, right? Now I capture that event, I've embedded the Google Pixel for that event, I want that event captured, and I send this information back into the Google ecosystem. Keep in mind, completely anonymized and aggregated, protecting the privacy of Mahesh, not sharing any PII. Mahesh's name, email, phone number, etc. would not get shared, but essentially giving Google a sense of Mahesh's digital profile, right? Giving a sense of what are Mahesh's browsing habits, what is Mahesh's demographic profile, which part of the country is he from, things like this. Mahesh loves RCB, he loves cricket, he loves politics, things like this, right? Essentially giving Google a sense of what Mahesh's profile is. Now Mahesh, let's say he continues to consume content on the app, he picks up maybe a 7-day free trial on the app. I send this, he's completed a midstream life cycle event. I send this information back into Google again. Let's say Mahesh eventually purchases a 6-month yoga plan for 7,000 rupees. Now, Mahesh has completed a very important step. He's moved from being a free user to becoming a paying customer of mine. I send this information back again, a downstream information, back into Google again. And I tell Google, by the way, I am giving this the greatest weightage, right? Because this is the most important event. Now, I want you to, now what I tell Google is, Google, listen, I love this Mahesh. Go find me 100 more clones of Mahesh. Go find me 100 more people like Mahesh, because I want more customers for my business, right? Now, the term AI and ML, artificial intelligence and machine learning, are abused a lot in our ecosystem. But in this case, Google and a lot of the other ad platforms, and I'll give you more examples of these ad platforms. Facebook does it, every other remarketing platform does it, ad networks do it. They really use AI and ML to do this kind of reverse engineering, wherein they try to find these, what I like to call digital clones of Mahesh, or people who have the same digital jatakam of Mahesh, the same digital horoscope, digital Janam Kundali of a Mahesh, right? So all of these platforms try to find these digital clones of Mahesh by doing this reverse engineering. But there is a catch. These platforms and these AI algorithms work well only at scale. If you give it enough of a large enough data set, that's when they work well. So in this case, when we first started off, even though we had implemented the Pixel, we were giving it all of the data, we had instrumented the events, the AI algorithms were not giving us the customers that we needed, because they didn't have enough information. I was just giving it information of 1 or 10 Maheshes, asking it to find the next 100. But we persisted with it. And over 3 quarters, instead of giving it information of say 10 Maheshes, asking it for the next 100, we gave it information of 1,000 Maheshes, asked it to find the next 100,000. And that's when it started improving. And over 3 successive quarters of us persisting with UAC campaigns, it became a very close second to Facebook. And this is what I like to call AI-driven inside-out targeting, which is the new age form of targeting, as opposed to the traditional outside-in targeting, wherein you as an entrepreneur, you as a marketer, you decide who your ideal customer persona is through some consumer research which you might have done, and you run campaigns towards that source of truth. Whereas here, you're letting data and you're letting user behavior within your own application either validate or challenge your hypothesis on who your ideal customer persona is. Like I said, we thought the millennial was the persona when we first started out, because those would be the ones who are the right for the business. Turns out it wasn't. The AI platforms were optimizing more and more for older men and women. It was not getting youngsters in. We were also puzzled. But we had told the AI platform, drive more conversions. And the AI platform was getting us more and more older people, because the younger cohorts the AI platform was bringing us in, they were just not converting. They were just being free users. Right? That's what we noticed. But the older ones that the platform was getting in, they were converting well. So it became like a self-fulfilling prophecy of sorts, because as and when more and more older people were converting, that just added towards that source of truth, saying that older people are the only ones who convert. So which is why once in a while what we would do is we would put a pause, right, circuit breaker on the AI algorithm, and we say we'll set up a human targeted campaign without AI meddling its way. If let's say I've come out with a new campaign, a new offering specifically meant for youngsters, let's say, for example, we came out with something called as a young mother's plan, which was specifically for young women who had given birth to children and who had put on a lot of body weight as a result, post-pregnancy body weight, who are suffering from lack of confidence because they put on a lot of weight after delivery. So that's a fairly younger crowd, right? Late 20s, early 30s, mid to late 20s to early 30s kind of a crowd. That's where we were targeting. So there, if I were to use AI alone for landing that new product, it wouldn't have worked, because it wouldn't have targeted that audience at all for me, because they just don't, historically, they had never converted. So we specifically we used influencer marketing as well for it, which is a separate story in itself. But from a Facebook perspective and from a Google perspective, we had to launch separate campaigns. Google didn't work for us at all. So we had to use Facebook specifically with some specific manual targeting options, saying people who follow certain kinds of pages, who are in certain age groups, some surrogate signals for pregnancy, right, of being in the young motherhood stage. That's what we did. So, like I said, AI-driven inside-out targeting, which is essentially the new form of targeting, so to speak. The traditional form of targeting, which is more outside-in, is more Neolithic. The other space where AI is playing a huge role is in App Store optimization. Now, let me tell you, for all of the youngsters here, if you're looking to build a career in marketing, this is the space to be in, ASO, right? Because it's super hard to find talent. You want to be in a race where there are not a lot of people running, right? If you are to look for Facebook advertising, Google ads, all of performance marketing, in marketing, right? A lot of people available, a lot of talent available. And in my view, again, a lot of this will become redundant skills with the growth of AI. Because a lot of the grunt work with ad creation, etc., AI is taking over. But one place where, at least in India, I've personally found it very hard to hire good talent in ASO, App Store optimization. App Store optimization, very simply put, is nothing but SEO's cousin. Think of it as SEO's cousin, but for the app ecosystem. SEO, search engine optimization, ASO is App Store optimization. How do you make sure that your app's listing comes up on the Google Play Store, on the Apple iTunes Store, on the Apple Store for relevant search queries? All of the efforts that you undertake. How do you manage ratings and reviews? All of that. Nobody wants to download and install a 3-star app, right? How do you manage all of that? For driving greater organic installs, that's called ASO, App Store optimization. Super hard to find good talent in India. Either they are working in a really large company, so they are priced out of your bracket if you're a small startup, or they are running their own agencies. So it's very hard to find talent, long story short. So youngsters, if you're looking for marketing careers, my humble opinion is this is the space to be in. And in-app, and I'll take you through ASO as well, where AI plays a good role in terms of what we did at HealthifyMe in the next few minutes. In-app marketing, we did a lot of that. This was not spray and pray. This was driven through marketing automation. We used a tool called MoEngage, which is again a really good tool for in-app engagement, which was again hyper-targeted. We look at that in the engagement and nurture section, wherein, for example, specific users who have the highest probability of conversion, I would target them with, are you interested in a no strings attached 7-day free premium plan, 7-day free trial? Are you, sir, interested in a no strings attached 1-hour conversation with my top nutritionist, which are absolutely free, which are essentially hooks to engage and nurture you so that you can become a paying customer tomorrow. We did a lot of email marketing. I'll take you through that. A lot of this driven through marketing automation platforms, some of it driven through AI. Accelerated mobile pages, it's not directly connected to AI, but I just thought I'll mention that because that's like a hygiene thing which needs to be in place if you want to improve your mobile SEO rankings, which is like a simple infrastructural code tweak you need to make sure your mobile website loads really quickly. Now, while we've seen all this, I just want to do a quick 5-minute just on data. Right? While AI is great, the foundation of AI is data. So, what kind of data points, what kind of metrics should you measure to know if your marketing is on the right track? I'll give you some popular KPIs which must be old news for most of you, but I'll just take you through that. One is obviously conversion rate, which is an obvious no-brainer one. I've got 10 I had 1,000 visits, I got 100 leads, I got 10 customers. So my bottom of the funnel conversion, lead to order conversion is 10 divided by 100, 10%, right? So my traffic to lead conversion is 100 divided by 1,000, which is again 10%. That's one metric which is fairly understood. Engagement rate. This is again a very important metric which essentially can be measured in multiple ways. From an app world, you must have heard these terms MAU and DAU, right? Monthly active users, daily active users. Monthly actives is in a given month, how many people actually open your app. DAU, daily active, is in a given day, how many people actually open your app. Now you can tweak the definition of engagement. Here my definition of engagement is somebody just launching your application. It could be something more fine-grained as well. But this is usually something that people measure, and I'll take you through why this is important as well. CLTV, lifetime value, which is again a very important metric for you to measure, which essentially tells you in gross margin terms, what is the impact that a particular customer or a cohort is making, and the other thing is CAC, right? And the CLTV CAC multiple. So very simply put, Mahesh, if you don't mind, I'll take your example again. Let's say I spent 100 rupees in acquiring Mahesh as a new customer for my business. That is my CAC, cost of customer acquisition. In general, it means if I spend 1 lakh in marketing, I got 1,000 new customers, 1 lakh divided by 1,000, 100 rupees, right? That's my CAC. In this case, let's understand this for a single customer, for Mahesh. Let's say, Mahesh, I spent 100 rupees on Facebook, let's say, for acquiring Mahesh as a new customer. Now, since the time of me acquiring Mahesh, over a 3 or a 5 year time frame, let's say Mahesh has come back and repeat transacted with me, right, for cumulatively for 5,000 rupees, right? And let's say my gross margin is 20. 20% is the margin that I make, which means at a gross margin level, from a bottom line perspective, in terms of operational profit, I have made 20% of 5,000, which is 1,000 rupees in gross margin from Mahesh as a customer over a 5 year time frame. So that is my CLTV for Mahesh. CLTV is typically measured over a 3 or a 5 year horizon at a gross margin level for various customer cohorts. In this case, I have just oversimplified the example by taking one customer as an example, right, which is Mahesh in this case. So I have made 5,000, my gross, which is the cumulative value of all of the purchases that Mahesh has made. My gross margin is 20%, so 20% of 5,000, 1,000 rupees is the CLTV for Mahesh. His CAC was 100. The CLTV CAC ratio or the multiple is 1,000 divided by 100, 10. Right? Now for any healthy business, the CLTV CAC multiple needs to be a minimum of 5. 3 is also okay, but 5 is good. Right? Which means that for every 1 rupee that you invest in acquiring new customers, you need to get at least 5 rupees in return. Right? And you can measure this if you are a CEO or an investor, you can measure this overall for the company. But if you are a marketer, you need to measure this for multiple channels. You need to measure this for multiple cohorts. You need to see what this is for Facebook versus a Google versus a LinkedIn versus ad networks versus organic, etc. You need to do this slicing and dicing. Because the reason I put this here is that quite often I'm asked, and this may not be as applicable for early stage startups because you may not have 3 years worth of data. You might have just started up, right? So how do you even measure CLTV, etc.? This is a question that I get often asked, which is, then in that case, a quick rule of thumb is make sure that your CAC is not more than 30% of your ASP, of your average selling price, which is usually one of my recommendations. If you're a very early stage startup, if you don't have 3 years of data, some people say that, you know what, I can't do this. This is theoretical for me, right? I just started yesterday. What do I do? So in that case, go with this simple rule of thumb. CAC not more than 30% of your ASP. Now, this is something I just want to leave you with before we move into the next section, which is the concept of lead and lag indicators, which is nothing new, not rocket science, especially in the case of data. Lead indicators, like it's an economics term, it's not, which marketing has borrowed as well. Lead indicators are essentially those that can give me advanced information. Lag indicators are those, lead indicators are those which can give me good advanced information. Lag indicators are those which serve essentially as a good post-mortem. This has happened. So, but you need both of these for all of your digital and your AI systems to play a role. Can anybody tell me why? And by the way, if I were to go back to the same section, can you tell me which of these are lead and lag indicators? Anyone? Conversion rate, lead or lag? Lag, yes. Engagement rate, this is an interesting one. And you can still argue it is lag, but I'll tell you it's lead and I'll tell you the reason for that as well. A lot of these, again, this is again a lead indicator, this is a lag, this is again a lead indicator. And I'll tell you why both of these are important. Because quite often I've been in meetings where CFOs in particular, you know what, by the way, as an aside, if you're in marketing, you need to be really good at sales. Keep that in mind. Because a lot of people think sales is only for salespeople. Very wrong. Especially if you are in marketing, it's true for any role. Sales is important for any role because you need to be good with selling marketing to people around you in the company. Usually the CEO, the second is the CFO. Because usually marketing is the second largest cash outflow in any organization after people's salary. So you'll get questioned a lot. When I was younger, I used to take it very personally. I used to feel bad saying, how is this person questioning me? Later I realized I shouldn't take it personally because that person is just doing their job. Because I am owning one of the largest P&Ls in the company. So you need to be good with sales, and for that, you need to speak the language of the CFO. You need to be able to speak the language of the CEO. And I'll give you some more examples of that as we go along. But just coming back to this point, why do you think we need to talk about lead and lag indicators? Why is this even relevant? Engagement rate, right? I've gotten beaten up earlier when I talk about engagement rate because they tell me it's just marketing fluff, just a marketing metric that nobody understands. Why should I even care about engagement rate? Why do you think that's important? I mentioned engagement rate earlier and I said it's a lead indicator. Any guesses? Let's understand that with a simple example. I'm going to take Mahesh's example again. Let's say Mahesh is the CEO of HealthifyMe. I'm working in his team, right? And he's given me, say, 10 lakhs to run a new campaign. I've just launched it. I launched it, say, today is Friday, right? Let's say I launched it on Monday. And then Mahesh comes in and asks me on today morning, right? And he says, Veda, how's the new campaign doing? There are two ways in which I can answer, right? One is I can say, you know what, Mahesh, we launched it on Monday. Our sales cycles are a month long. So let's wait for a month, blow all of the 10 lakhs, then we'll know if it's working well or not. Because it takes 1 month for me to know if conversion is coming in or not. That's how long our sales cycle is. So I can't give you an answer in 4 days. Come back to me in 26 days and then I'll give you an answer. Now, if I give that kind of an answer, Mahesh will probably fire me and throw me out of the company, right? The second way in which I can answer Mahesh is, listen, Mahesh, we launched it 4 days ago. The early signs are positive, right? The early lead indicators are good. The engagement rates for this new Facebook campaign we've launched for 4 days are comparable to the kind of other the benchmarks that we have for similar kinds of Facebook campaigns that we're running for 4 days, right? We've noticed that the benchmarks are around 4%, which means that 4% of the installs that come through over the first 4 days typically open and launch the app. This is operating at 3.5%. So the early signs are positive. We should start seeing revenue outcomes. It's too early for revenue outcomes. We spent a lakh, we should keep the course. Or what I can say is, we've been seeing 4 days, the early signs are very bad. The engagement rate, the lead indicator that I see of people launching and opening the app is just 0.5%, but the benchmark for other similar campaigns is 4%. So what I've done as of this morning, just before you walked in, is I've shut off this campaign. I've stopped this campaign, we spent a lakh, we've stopped the bleeding. We're going back to the drawing board. The 1 lakh is a sunk cost. We've learned from our mistakes. We're going to come back with a new campaign. We've saved 9 lakhs for the company. We're going to come back with a new campaign. That's also an acceptable answer for a good marketer, right? So that's why you need a lead indicator, especially in cases where your sales cycles are longer. Because it takes you, if the sales cycles are longer, it takes you longer to get an answer for marketing input. Revenue output takes you longer. Because sales, the nature of your business is such, it takes 4 weeks for you to know whether marketing is working or not, right? So which is why you need some early advance signals, which is where your lead indicator comes in, which is where something like engagement comes in. It's not, so that's how you convince a CFO, by the way, saying that it's not marketing fluff. It actually is something which is business relevant. Now let's just shift tracks and focus a little on App Store, and I want to leave the last 10-15 minutes for Q&A as well. I want it to be a conversation. I'm sure a lot of you will have questions. So let's look at App Store optimization. Like I said, it's SEO's cousin, meant for the app world. How do you make sure that your app's listing comes up for relevant keyword search queries? And it's a combination of two things. So if you think about it, right, if somebody is searching for something on the App Store, The first thing is discoverability. If somebody is searching for calorie counting, somebody is searching for weight loss, first thing is my app's listing needs to show up. That's number one. Discoverability. So for the right keyword, my app needs to show up. So the key determinant of that is metadata, right? Which is data about data. My app's description, title, declared keywords, right? The content which is available on the app description, within the app, etc. So the metadata, that is what influences discoverability. Second is, of the people who have seen my app's listing, how many of them click through and install my app, which is the conversion. And that, no matter if you write Shakespearean English or Shashi Tharoor English, it doesn't matter. It's primarily influenced only by the creative, right? Primarily, for the most part. No matter what kind of English you write, right? It's primarily influenced by the creative. So how do you leverage your creative when you run A/B tests? And that's what I'm going to take you through, which again uses AI for making sure that you're able to drive conversions the right way. ASO is a combination of, and it's a course in itself, which I separately take, which is a combination of multiple things. It's not just about discoverability and conversion, as you would understand. It's also about ratings and reviews. In this day and age, nobody installs a 3-star rated app. When was the last time you downloaded a 3-star rated app? Nobody does it, right? Or of the last review, if it is say a really poor one for the app, nobody does it. So you need to have a system and a process in place to make sure that you manage ratings and reviews. And by the way, stay away from shady agencies if you're running an app-based business, which promise to increase your ratings and reviews overnight, right? A lot of bots available, fake reviews can be bought, all of that. Some of our competitors did that, by the way, at HealthifyMe, and they while they saw a short-term spike, eventually Google will find out. Google eventually found out and they got blacklisted. So that's something important for you to keep in mind. Just looking at, trying to simplify this really, what are some of the key metadata points for you to optimize for? So on the iOS store, these are the ones, right? You've got the title, subtitle, declared keywords. There's something called as declared keywords, very similar to a customs declaration. You actually declare the set of keywords for Apple. Whereas in Google, Google decides what your right set of keywords are from whatever you give. You have on the Google Play Store, you've got the title and the short description. You've got the feature graphic or the feature image as well, which comes on top. You can replace that with a video as well. You've got the icon, you've got the feature graphic, you've got screenshots. And typically what you do is and one of the great ways about operating in the digital ecosystem is that personal subjective opinions don't need to matter. You can let data decide who's right or who's wrong. Even if Mahesh is the CEO, he says, you know what, our feature graphic sucks. Let's just remove it, change it to a new one. I don't have to take his word for it. I can say, that's a good opinion, Mahesh. Let's run an A/B test on it, an alpha beta test on it, and figure out who's right and who's wrong. Let our customers decide what's right and what's wrong. So, which is certainly one approach. In ASO in particular, given that the stakes are high, especially as you continue to grow. When you're small, it doesn't matter. You can take these risks. But if you're growing, for example, at HealthifyMe, when we ran a lot of these A/B tests, we used to get 100,000 impressions every single day, right? So it's a huge risk to take if you had to just change willy-nilly, just on the whim of one person, even if the person is a CEO, right? If you had to change the feature graphic. Because even a 2-3% change in conversion rate can make a fairly material difference, if not a significant difference. So that is one quantitative aspect, which is data-driven. AI, data science driven, which is the A/B testing. The other thing is, it is usually, you need to embellish it with some kind of in-depth qualitative user research as well, where you essentially put 20 people in a room like this, and you have a conversation with them on what is it that you like about design A versus design B, and you go in depth, and you use both of the results, because the first one is more broad. It gives you data at scale for hundreds of thousands of users, but you don't have the depth of insight. The second one is with a limited, smaller cohort of users where you get in-depth insights. So now what I want to do is I want to give you some examples of some of the A/B testing work that was done at HealthifyMe, again, leveraging AI. So one of the things that we did was on the screenshot itself. So think of this as, so all of you understand how A/B testing works, right? It's alpha and beta testing. You've got two new variants, challengers, who go up against the incumbent, who's the champion, right? So alpha, this is exhibit A, right, which is alpha, which goes up against the incumbent, wherein we came out with a simple set of screenshots. So on the apps listing, you see a set of screenshots as well below, right? So wherein we had a fairly monochromatic design, black and white design, which talks about key elements of the brand's value proposition. Beta was this, which essentially tried to dumb it down, or, in terms of what the brand does, and said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're fit, and you've discovered a healthier version of yourself. These are the series of steps that you need to do, which was made idiot-proof, right? We just tried to dumb it down, in a sense. And no surprises for guessing when the results came out. And the good news is that a lot of the A/B testing work that you want to run, at least on the Android Play Store, that's available natively within the Android Play Store. So if you're running an app, you just log in with your admin credentials into the admin console on the Android Play Store, and you can set this up even if you do not know any coding. You can set this up yourself. It doesn't take, you just need to upload the creatives and Google will run it for you, and it will tell you if it has reached a point of quote unquote statistical significance, which means that you've got enough data to be able to trust the results. So here what you see here is you've got the incumbent version on top, which is the current design. You've got alpha version, you've got beta version. As you can see, the click to install rate is the highest for beta, 24.5%. What's essentially saying is that we have a confidence of 74.5% that the improvement in your click to install rate will be almost 10% if you were to make this guy. Right now it is 33%, equally throttled, all of the volume. What this is telling me is that if you make this 100% of the volume, we have like a 74.5% confidence that you'll see a 10% uptick. 10% uptick is huge in terms of my top of the funnel, which means that I'll get 10% more installs. Everything else being the same, if my funnel stays constant, all the metrics stay constant, that means I'm getting 10% more customers. I'm making 10% more money every single month. So this is an example. Again, a lot of these A/B testing platforms again are driven by AI, which again Google has. The bad news, however, is that on the Apple Store, you don't have this available natively. You've got to integrate with one of these platforms. Split Metrics is my favorite. It's a simple single sign-on integration which you need to do with the Split Metrics. If your app is listed on the iOS store as well. On the Android store, you don't need to do anything different. It's available within the Android store itself. Some networks, now moving aside from ASO, some popular ad networks that use AI. There is Leadbolt, which is a popular one which uses AI again for a lot of the reverse targeting, the digital Janam Kundli that I spoke about, the digital Jatagam, the reverse cloning, the reverse engineering, finding more digital clones of Mahesh. A lot of these ad platforms, ad networks also do this. AdMob now taken over by Google. UAP, we use this a lot, especially when TikTok got banned. So we use this for going after the younger demographic segment. So if your brand is actually selling to teenagers, early 20s, etc., UAP is a platform, an ad network again, which has access to a lot of exclusive publisher inventory, which is frequented a lot by youngsters. Right? That again is a good network for you to keep in mind. Now, this section will just look at what are some of the areas where in Bing Ads and in Copilot, AI is actually playing a role. So I don't know how many of you have tried out the new Bing search, which is again powered through a lot of the new age. I think it's powered through ChatGPT 3.5. It's getting upgraded to 4.0. The new Bing search is, you can give it any kind of a complex query like these. I'm planning a dinner party, these many vegetarians. There is a person who's a vegan, who's lactose intolerant. There are these many people who eat meat. Give me a cuisine, it will actually do that. It gives you a fairly well-evolved answer, which takes into mind all of these nuances that you've actually posted for. Here's the other thing again, I don't know, like I said, from a search perspective, it's an almost monopoly in Google search. But in Bing search, again, these are the three large ad formats that you can run. Shopping, multimedia ads, shopping campaigns are like PLAs, product listing ads. Those of you who've heard on the Google search, you will see the individual product shown, right? Where you can directly go to the direct product details page. You will show the actual picture of the resort if you're searching for a resort. Or if you're searching for a specific kind of a phone, you'll see the actual phone itself in the search results from a Flipkart, from an Amazon, etc. Those are PLAs. The equivalent of that is the shopping campaigns and the vertical ads. Now, just take a look at this quick ad, which will give you a sense of how AI is playing a role in Bing search. Like I said, a lot of new features on Bing search. Excel sheet, for example, you can ask it to convert it into a PowerPoint presentation. You can ask it for specific 5 bullet insights. Let's say you're preparing for a review meeting with your boss. and you need a really good, slick-looking presentation to be prepared, you can ask it to do that. You can ask it to summarize a meeting which you missed. It'll actually do that for you. So it's a great productivity assistant. It's like having an assistant for you at work, right? Who's sitting right beside you. You don't have to be a CEO to have an assistant. You can actually have your own AI-powered virtual assistant, which can unlock a lot of productivity for you. This is the other thing that I wanted to leave you with on Bing, which is a lot of the AI benefits that I spoke about are more customer-facing, right? Where it talks about some specific benefits, and the reason why there's been some, a lot of optimizations and layoffs in the Google's advertising team, which is the fact that if you as a marketer give it like 15 headlines and 4 descriptions, the AI engine within the Bing Ads platform is so good that it will create up to 40,000 different permutations, combinations of these search ads. And it will run specific relevant combinations of these ads to the right customer at the right time. So don't worry, you're not going to be charged like $1 million by running all these 40,000 ads. You can define your daily budget. If your daily budget is say 10,000 rupees a day or 5,000 rupees a day, it will run within that constraint. But it will continuously keep A/B testing so many different permutations, combinations of all of your ad formats, multiple combinations of descriptions and titles to figure out what is working right for the right customer. That's again an example of how AI is playing a role both from a customer facing perspective and from the perspective of unlocking productivity for the marketer internally. Moving on, like I said, what is the real superpower in today's world? Like a lot of you know, it is prompt engineering, right? How can you be a person who can ask the right question to the AI engine so that you can get the right answer? Like I said, think of these AI engines as the smartest person out there, an Einstein, a Bill Gates, but they know nothing about you. So how can you ask it the right question? So I've actually created this document which is a curated list of questions for, say, creating a LinkedIn social media plan, right? You can ask it the right question with the right nuances and the right templates. Happy to share that with the TiE members as well. I don't think we'll have the time to actually go through that document right now, but more than happy to send it across, which essentially gives you a set of templatized prompts that if you had to paste on, otherwise you'll have to go through like 10 iterations for you to get the right answer, right? So you can give it a set of templatized prompts with all of the right nuances thrown in for your business so that you get what you're looking for in the first iteration itself. That's something I'm more than happy to share. Now let's shift our focus. A lot of our focus so far has been on customer acquisition. Now what, to a certain extent, we've also in certain pockets looked at engagement and nurturing. Now what we'll do is we'll shift our focus to engagement and nurturing. Very simply put, it is nothing but, and it's nothing but working with existing pipeline of leads who already have an awareness about your brand, who already have an awareness about your company and converting them into paying customers. It's also about working with your existing customers, converting them into repeat customers as well, and I'll give you an example of that. And a lot of this is automated today through marketing automation platforms. So let's go through a simple case study of Simplilearn, which, like I said, maybe I'm biased a little because I'm ex-Simplilearn, which is one of the best examples of, in the B2C case, right, one of the best examples of engagement and nurturing. So before we, just for you to have context on the brand, I just want to play this quick 30-second brand advert, which will give you a sense of what Simplilearn does.
ये क्या लगता है आपको ऑफिस? ये शतरंज है और यहाँ सबकी एक ही इच्छा है, राजा रानी के केबिन तक पहुँचने की, और सब किस्मत के भरोसे। ये आनंद है, Simplilearn.com से सर्टिफिकेशन कर रहा है, बिग डेटा, डिजिटल मार्केटिंग, प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट, प्लानिंग की है अपने करियर को आगे बढ़ाने की। किस्मत पे मत छोड़ो, टेक चार्ज ऑफ योर करियर. Simplilearn.com. Get certified, get ahead.
So those, I'm sure a lot of you here would have heard of Simplilearn. How many of you here have heard of Simplilearn? Some of you have, good. A lot of you have, in fact, good. So Simplilearn, one of the world's leading providers of online training solutions, digital marketing, data science, project management, Android programming, iOS programming, etc. And this was one of our, featuring the late Irfan Khan, one of the earlier brand ads that we had launched. And I just want to take you through, having some technical difficulties which AI can't fix. Yeah, it's fixed. Human has fixed it. Thank you, sir. So some of the engagement and nurturing work that we did. So just want to talk to you about some of the work that we did. Let's understand this with a simple example again. Mahesh, I'm going to take your example again. Let's say Mahesh comes and signs up on the Simplilearn website. Oversimplified example, very quick one. On day 0, he gets a communication that says, Mahesh, welcome. Let's say he's interested in learning digital marketing. Welcome to the digital marketing program. Congratulations on having taken the first step, etc. A few days after that, he would get a communication that says, here, Mahesh, here are some of the latest and greatest blogs in this particular space which you might be interested in. A few days after that, he would get a seemingly personalized communication, which is actually automated, right? Which says, here are some testimonials of people just like yourself, Mahesh, by the way, who've advanced their careers after using this course. A few days after that, he gets invited to a webinar conducted by an industry expert for him to gain more trust around the brand. Now, did you notice something interesting about all of these pieces of communication? What is the one thing which you usually see in marketing communication which is missing consistently across all these 4 pieces of communication? Brand name, personalization. There is no sales pitch, right? The brand is not looking to sell anything, right? In this particular case, the brand is asking Mahesh for his time. That's it. But the brand is not asking Mahesh for anything at all. It's just looking to give. It's just trying to add value to Mahesh. It's trying to educate, nurture Mahesh, engage Mahesh, right? Eventually, the brand moves in for the kill and says, here's a 20% discount code, Mahesh, which expires in 48 hours, by the way, just to build a sense of FOMO. So buy now, right? Which is when finally the sales pitch comes out. The Brahmastra is taken out. But this is what is called a classic, this is again a basic one, a classic life cycle drip campaign. It's called a drip because very similar to water dripping off a tap, one after another. These communications go out in an automated fashion, one after another. A lot of this is automated via marketing automation platforms. Even before you here are some of the most popular marketing automation platforms out there. All of them use AI. HubSpot is the world's leading marketing automation platform. Acton is another good one. Salesforce, Marketo is great. Salesforce, world's leading CRM, also has a marketing automation module, but a lot of them are prohibitively expensive, disclaimer. So shown before you here are some more value for money, marketing automation platforms, especially if you're a startup, right? Which is essentially this audience. For a startup entrepreneur who's looking to hustle, who doesn't have a huge budget, you might be better off by using one of these platforms. Active Campaigns is my personal favorite again, fantastic marketing automation platform. So is MoEngage, slightly more expensive, but you can certainly use, which you don't see in this list. Now, in engagement and nurturing, there is something called as lead scoring again, which is again partly driven by AI and partly driven by human intervention, which is very important. Because when you engage and nurture, you've got to have personalized communication, which doesn't go out to everybody. I don't want to treat all these, say 50 people who are sitting here in the same way. I want to personalize my communication. And you do that through something called as a lead score. Some people also call this marketing engagement index, or it's also called lead score. Think of it as very similar to, let's use the analogy of a classroom. Let's say I am the class teacher, this is the classroom, all of you are my students. I give you a blended score at the end of the term, which includes your class participation, which includes how you perform. I give it, say, 10% weightage. There is quiz, I give it, say, 20% weightage. There is the midterm exam, the end term exam, there is a project, I give 30% weightage. You have a cumulative score, which is a weighted sum of how you performed across each of this. In a very similar way, when you calculate a lead score or a marketing engagement index, the marketing automation platform calculates it based on the weightages and the parameters that you define. You define saying that somebody, you know from historical records, if I were to use the HealthifyMe example, that somebody coming from, say, a Bangalore converts better than somebody coming from Mysore. No disrespect, right? Mumbai converts better than Surat. Let's say I know that. Somebody using an iPhone converts better than somebody using an Android device. I know that from historical data, right? Somebody suffering from hypertension converts better than somebody who doesn't, right? So I give that all of these demographic attributes, phone usage, all of these weightages, specific weightages. So depending on what kind of user comes in, the lead score gets bumped up or bumped down. So lead score essentially is nothing but I can see some wonderful aromas coming in, so hold on for another 10 minutes. I'm sure a lot of you are hungry just like me, right? I'll try to wrap it up really quickly. I can see a lot of heads turning there. Smells really good. So what I was trying to say is, it's a simple numeric score on a scale of 0 to 100, just like a mark that a student gets. Higher the score, greater is the probability of conversion of that particular lead. As simple as that. So in this particular case, so I give the marketing automation platform saying that give 30% weightage for the city that the person comes from, right? And I know from historical records that Mumbai converts better than Surat, for example. Tier 1 cities convert better than Tier 2. Then I say that somebody who behavior, these are all demographic attributes. Behavioral attributes are the next. I know that if somebody is visiting my pricing page often and checking out my products and the pricing, they are very likely to convert. So increase the lead score. give that particular weightage. So a combination of demographic and behavioral attributes go into the eventual lead score that gets calculated. Like I said, multiple, combination demographic and behavioral attributes gets included here. Now, when you think about engagement and nurturing, like I said, you've got to be good with sales. How do you pitch this to a CEO? You've got to certainly understand, why do you need CJM, customer journey mapping, engagement and nurturing? Why do you need marketing automation? Why do you need AI and all of this tech fluff? If you had to pitch it to a CEO, two strong reasons. The first is your sales team is going to be that much more productive. I don't know about all of the CEOs here, but all of the CEOs that I have always worked for, they always loved their sales team more than marketing. They always saw the sales team as the people who bring in the money, the marketers as the ones who end up spending their money. So your sales team, this is a great way for you to make your sales team more productive. Let me give a simple example. Let's say Mahesh is an entrepreneur. He has a 10-member telesales team. They make 20 calls a day. They work for 20 days a month, which means they can get in touch with 10 into 20, which is what, 4,000, right? 4,000 calls in a given month, 10 into 20 into 20. Let's assume that, for simplicity's sake, for the purpose of this example, each of them is to a unique prospect, right? So they can get in touch with 4,000 prospects in a month. But what does he do if his pipeline, right? If his lead pipeline is 10,000 strong, if his funnel is 10,000 strong, how does a sales team decide which are the top 4,000 to call? They might be using first in, first out, last in, first out, something which is unscientific. That's where the power of AI, marketing automation, technology comes in, wherein using these marketing automation platforms, you can calculate the lead score or the marketing engagement index for each of these 10,000 people, depending on a combination of demographic and behavioral traits. Now, all Mahesh's sales team now needs to do is to sort the 10,000 leads who are in the pipeline in descending order of lead score, get in touch with the top 4,000. That's all they need to do, which means their probability of success is increased. They're spending time with those leads who have a greater affinity for getting converted, which means there's a direct impact on top line. The second is, and I cannot stress this enough, a lot of these marketing engagement platforms, their pricing is tier-based pricing, which means this is the pricing for up to 100,000 contacts. This is the pricing up to for say 100 to 200,000 contacts. So it's very tier-based. It's not like Google or a Facebook or a remarketing platform, which is CPC or CPM-based pricing. So it's significantly more cost-effective for you to run engagement and nurture efforts via these marketing automation platforms, which means for the same budget, same marketing spend, you get either more customers or greater number of customers. For lesser spend, you get the same number of customers, or for the same spend, you get more number of customers, which means your CAC, cost of customer acquisition, goes down and your bottom line starts looking better. So for two strong reasons, you need to consider marketing automation, which is improved top line and bottom line. Two quick pro tips. One is focus, especially in the kind of times that we live in now, where there's a recession looming. Everybody is trying to tighten their purse strings. Everybody is trying to be frugal when it comes to marketing. Focus as much on engagement and nurturing as you would on, say, new customer acquisition. Youngsters like you, when you think of marketing, you think the first thing that comes into mind is big bucks, big campaign, big glossy campaign where you spend a lot of money on. I don't think that is the future. The future will be marketers who are able to do more with less, who are able to extract monetization juice from leads who are already a part of your funnel by using marketing automation, leveraging technology. So do focus on this. The second thing is, question that I'm often asked is, how often should you engage and nurture? My quick rule of thumb is, you've got to think of this as a relay race, with marketing running with the baton for the first 3 quarters of the sales cycle and then handing it off to the salesperson for the last home stretch. So in this particular case, my typical rule of thumb is 6 to 8 touch points you hit that particular prospect with across multiple channels, automated, email, SMS, WhatsApp, browser notifications, and for 3 quarters of the sales life cycle. In the Simplilearn case, you notice that it went on for approximately 20 days because the sales life cycle is 30 days. Right? So that would have been stupid on my part if I was doing the same thing at Infosys, which is high-end B2B, and my sales cycles are 18, 24 months. If I send that prospect 5 emails in 20 days, the person will mark me as spam, right? So by the same token, when I know my sales cycle is a month, if I send a monthly newsletter, which is probably makes sense in an Infosys, in this case, the prospect might go off with a competitor, right? So you've got to balance it out depending on your business. Frequency of 5 to 6 has been my experience, which covers 3 quarters of your sales cycle. Couple of things. One is on repeat business. This is a question, again, this was a very interesting case that we had at Simplilearn. Now, Simplilearn is a company which made real money. Strong EBITDA, strong gross margins, because you're selling online recorded content again and again, right? Because there is no COGS. I'm selling the same online recorded content again, right? So I have a one-time fee, which I incur in creating that content, after which I keep making money. So EBITDAs of, gross margins of 80-85% plus. But the problem was this: when there was hardly any repeat business, right? So while the unit economics were good, unlike a lot of e-com unicorns in our country, it made real money, there was no repeat business. So customers were coming in through that door, leaving through that, never staying back. No loyalty. So the CLTV was very low. While my CAC was still good, cash flow positive, unit economics are good, gross margins are good, there was no CLTV, there was no loyalty built in, which was a big problem for us when we were looking to raise funds, because VCs felt the business was inherently risky. You are always dependent on new acquisitions, right? Where is your stickiness in your platform? There is no loyalty. So what we did was we actually turned it around using marketing automation, using AI, and I just want to take you through that very quickly, which is wherein we introduced the concept of a learning path. We said that my relationship with Mahesh is not a transactional one, where I'm a training partner for him. I'm here as a career partner for Mahesh. So we specifically targeted, using marketing automation, existing customers of Simplilearn 6 months after they had graduated from Simplilearn's ranks, who had given a strong NPS, who had given a rating of 8 and above. So people who are very happy, right? And by the way, the reason for low repeats is obvious, right? ASPs are 15-20,000 rupees, average selling price. So if I've just convinced Mahesh, who spent 20,000 rupees of his hard-earned money in picking a course, it's going to be a pretty difficult conversation for me to convince him to spend another 20,000, right? It's not like booking a cab on Ola. Repeat behavior is by nature low in this category. So we flipped it around and we said, let's say Mahesh is a happy customer, he's given a strong rating. I don't target this to everybody, right? Let's say all of these people are unhappy with me. I would target only these people who are happy, who have given a strong NPS rating 6 months after they have graduated, saying, Mahesh, it's been 6 months since we graduated. Here is my personalized learning path for you. I'm not just a training provider for you. I'm here as a career planner. You're here at Basecamp A. You want to get to the peak, which is your aspirational CMO role, chief data scientist role, whatever, depending on the track you are in. You need to go to Basecamps B, C, D to get to that peak. If you think about it, it's nothing much. It's a bundled sale. But we pitched, packaged, and sold it as the concept of a learning path by specifically setting up repeat drips in this case. So engagement and nurturing is not just for leads who come into your funnel. It's also for existing customers to get them to come back and repeat transact with you, which is important in this case, right? And that's how we managed to improve, push the envelope on repeat business. In this case, we set up the templates and the workflows we use HubSpot for the marketing automation. We set this up on HubSpot, and then we let the AI engine optimize and reach out to the right customer at the right time. And by doing this, what essentially happened was the results was from virtually zero contribution to month-on-month revenues from existing customers, repeat customers. Everything was coming from new customers. We managed to move that to 15%. This is an example of this is not cannibalization, completely incremental, ground-up revenue creation without any increment, without even a dollar or a rupee incremental being spent on marketing. My marketing automation cost is an overhead anyway. I didn't spend anything extra. All I did was I creatively used the marketing automation platform and the AI tech stack to my advantage to be able to drive repeat business. This is another one before we wrap up the session, which was, we had this very interesting debate. The Simplilearn, we had a blog, and where we used to get 100,000 visits. Business woke up one fine day and said, let's monetize this, right? We're not running a charity. And then they put up an ugly looking pop-up when people landed on the blog. And then the bounce rate, which is typically the percentage of users who come to a page and leave, usually the global average is 30-40%. The bounce rate for our blog used to be around 45-50%. Right? And that ballooned. Obviously, nobody likes a pop-up, right? People left. Bounce rate is the percentage of people who leave without doing any action after landing on your page, which is usually a sign that the page is bad, right? And that zoomed up to 75-80%. And the user experience guys got up and said, this is bad, etc., etc. So we need some kind of a middle ground. So we brought in some kind of a delay. We said 5 seconds delay. The bounce rate came down slightly. We introduced, the pop-up would come in after 5 seconds. Right? We introduced a delay using the marketing automation platform again, and it came down slightly. We increased the delay, it came down slightly again. We said this is going to take a while. So in the marketing automation platform, we essentially set up a simple workflow that said, make the bounce rate the same as what it was without any pop-up, which was 45, the bounce rate was 45%. It should be 45%. Make the delay such that my bounce rate is now equal to 45. So the marketing automation platform essentially ran a bunch of A/B tests, and it eventually said that 45 seconds is the sweet spot at which the bounce rate will actually steady down to around 45-50% range, right? So we introduced the pop-up at a delay of 45% so that the bounce rate was also at 45-50%, which means that I'm able to get leads for the business through the pop-up without any incremental damage to customer experience or user experience, because the pop-up is not incrementally ugly. Pop-up is ugly, but it is not causing any damage because my bounce rate is the same as what it is even without a pop-up. That's how we used AI in that particular case. The last one, I think I spoke about RIA a lot. The biggest problem we were looking to solve with RIA was this, right? Like I said, a lot of the young folks who are on the HealthifyMe app, they just didn't convert. They were free users. We just were not able to drive conversions because the cheapest plan that we have, which was human-led, was 7,000 rupees, right? And that was also because we had overheads, right? We had to pay a salary to the nutritionist and the fitness coach, etc., which meant that there were a couple of problems with that, right? One is there was a glass ceiling for growth for the business, because as I continue to grow, I'll have to hire more and more and more people, which is not scalable, which a lot of you would recognize as an entrepreneur. Second, it's also the fact that I'm not able to monetize large cohorts of my users who are still staying as free users, because for them the 7,000 rupees is too high a price point, right? So what we did was we essentially launched an AI-powered smart plan, as it was called, which was powered 100% by RIA. RIA obviously takes no salary. She's an AI algorithm. There is no overhead cost associated with it. And the RIA was basically trained on billions and billions of data, which was all of the food logs, the workout logs that Indians had done prior. She was trained. It's a she, by the way, so we gave her a personality just like a Siri or a Cortana, and we gave her a personality and we launched the smart plan essentially to go after, we didn't want cannibalization, right? I don't want a Mahesh who's anyway going to purchase a 7,000 rupee plan from me to go for a 300 rupee per month plan. I don't want that. I want to specifically target it to those cohorts of users who are anyway not buying from me, so that I'm able to drive incremental growth for the business. And that's how we launched RIA. Just a quick video after which we'll wrap.
50 million workouts tracked. 3 years in the making. Meet Ria.
Hello, I'm Ria, the world's first AI nutritionist. Go ahead and ask me what you want.
What should I have for lunch?
You should consider eating 1 katori corn salad, 200 grams grilled chicken, and 1 katori fruit salad.
How was my day yesterday?
You have reached 90% of your calorie budget. Here's your macronutrient consumption.
Should I have grilled chicken or curd rice?
Grilled chicken is the healthier of the two. I'm available 24/7 at your beck and call. So what are you waiting for? Let's get started already.
So the RIA works, I don't know how many of you have tried Punjabi wedding with a lot of cheesy foods and buttery foods laid out in front of you, and let's say you're looking to cut down, you can actually take a picture of the foods and RIA will actually tell you stay off these two and binge eat on this, right? She will actually give you those kinds of advice, which is reactive plus proactive suggestions as well. Now I promised a few demos at the beginning of the session. I just want to take you through some quick demos of what are some of my popular platforms. I'll take you through some of them. This is Jasper, which is a pretty cool tool for creating multiple campaigns. I'll just take you through create 500 post on payment gateways. While that comes up, let's go to Type Dream, and let's say you want to create a website. Let's say I want to create a website. You can actually ask it to create it. It will give you the actual designs, the content, everything. It will actually give you that. If you have a custom domain which you've bought on GoDaddy, you can go link that with this as well. Let's say you've got your own domain, www.mahesh.com. Let's say you've got your own website. You have your own domain. You can actually link it to this, and you can have your website live and up and running in under 30 minutes to 60 minutes. So let's say here you want to say online payments. That's what your website is on, right? You can ask it to generate. Who is the target audience of this entrepreneurs? So just asking me what are the benefits you want me to cover, etc., etc. SEO keywords. Just asking it to generate now. So that's it. It will write the whole article for me. And it will be SEO optimized as well, right? So it will keep generating till I ask it to stop generating. So let's go back to Type Dream. Let's say my business is Razorpay. So it says what kind of a design and a template do you want? I'm going to use this. I'm going to use the red one. Build my site. So it's actually built out the entire design for me. Failed generating this section. It's generated the top above the fold. Again, there's some server issue there. Maybe my my hotspot isn't strong enough. I'm on my hotspot. But essentially the point that I wanted to make is you can have a website. There are lots of other websites like this, by the way. If you search for AI tools for generating websites, you'll get tons of results, by the way. Right? This is just one of the many. Other tools that I wanted to leave you with, this is Stella, by the way, the thing I mentioned, right? I'm working on actually creating my own website where I plan to sell courses of my own, which is an aspiration of mine. So, for example, this is one of the sections, course sections that I had shot for 4 minutes. One of the AI, this is a video editing tool, pretty cool video editing tool. You can actually ask it to remove buffers and remove silences. So, for example, in a recording, there could be spaces where you're actually thinking or you're saying, and you've lost your train of thought. Right, and you've recorded it. So instead of you having to, when you're editing it, you having to chop and change and go to that specific point in the video where that gap has come through, remove that, etc. You can actually ask it to say, it's identified already that there are 8 silences. I can ask it to just remove the 8 silences. It'll remove it. I can ask it to remove the buffers. Right, the starting I might have had a buffer where I'm adjusting my camera. I'm just making sure everything is fine before I start the record. Right, before I start speaking, I can actually ask it to remove the buffers. It'll remove the buffers. That's another fantastic tool, Tela. I've experimented with multiple video editing tools. I think this is one of the best video editing tools which uses AI that I would certainly recommend. This is the other one, which is SEMrush, like I mentioned, a fantastic keyword analytics tool, again uses AI. One of the cool things that I like about, I've already done the keyword search here just in the interest of time for online payments. One of the cool things that I like about this is it gives you 2 things, right, for various kinds of keywords. Under keyword search, online payments is the overall Uber keyword that I have given. All of the related keywords under online payments, it's found out so many. It gives you 2 very interesting pieces of information. The first is volume. Second is something called as keyword density, which is also ranking difficulty. Volume, like I said, is nothing but a surrogate for demand. Greater the volume, it means there is a greater demand for this particular keyword being searched. Now the mistake that a lot of entrepreneurs like yourself make often is that they go after the keywords which have the highest search volume and try to rank for that, try to rank their website, their blog pages for that, which is very impossible, because if you're going after a keyword which has the highest volume, you will usually have a well-entrenched competitor who is already ranking on page 1 for that keyword. And like, if you don't rank on page 1, it's as good as not ranking on Google. So you've got to take a call, also look at the keyword density or the ranking difficulty against it. So, because the ranking difficulty would usually be high. I don't know how many of you remember this company called Thrillophilia? Anybody? Some of you have. Now, this is a company operates in the travel tech space, very competitive space, dog-eat-dog world. A lot of global MNCs operate in this space. Local homegrown players, ClearTrip, Oyo Rooms, Make My Trip operate in this space. Very heavy VC funds. Against all of these people, this company almost completely bootstrapped, running only on promoters' funds. Spent 0 in marketing. Used to have managed to build a brand for itself and a name for itself. They went through a tough time during COVID, like most people. But they managed to do it because they focused only on SEO. They had no money to do anything else. They did only SEO. And they did not go after the high volume keywords. What they did was they had a very cool flanking strategy. They used to go after the long tail of keywords, where the search volume is not a lot, but the ranking difficulty is also not a lot. So they could get a lot of quick wins. So instead of going for keywords like resorts in Mysuru, which is, they know it's impossible for them to rank. A Make My Trip or a ClearTrip will always be on page 1. They went after stuff like holidays and experiences in, say, a Kuttikanam, which is a small, not a lot of people have heard of this particular resort, which is on the border of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. It's a small virgin hill station, very beautiful place. Resorts and holidays and experiences, which was their niche. Holidays and experiences in Mount Abu, right? Things like these. That's what they would focus on. Holidays and experiences in a Hubli. Holidays and experiences in Hampi, right? These were the kind of keywords they would focus on, and that's how they managed to build their brand. I just wanted to give you a sense of that. SEMrush, again, fantastic platform, uses a lot of AI to calculate this. Keyword Strategy Builder, which is again a new feature that they've launched, which again uses AI to calculate keyword insights. which is something I would totally recommend. The Google Keyword Planner, again, you can enter keywords that you need and it will give you a sense of what is the kind of keyword search volume, which is nothing but a surrogate for demand. Like I said, very similar to SEMrush. I don't know if this has come back, Type Dream. Some internet issues there with this particular website. That's all I had for you folks. I hope this was a good use of your time. I know it's almost 8 o'clock and it's almost dinner time, but if people have questions, more than happy to take them now, or we could have a conversation over dinner. Either way works. So any questions, please feel free to raise them. Thank you for your time.
Which means advertisement has no place. Which means algorithm is going to look at my earnings, my revenue, my spending patterns, my behavior, my likes and dislikes, what brand of car I drive, what kind of food I eat, what kind of hobbies I have, how much budget I have. The algorithm will know that. And the algorithm will make me a moron and ask me to buy a product with doing all the things which you have said pre-done. So all that I need to do is to go by its choice. Is it true or is it just a false statement?
I mean, at the end of the day, try their best to make sure that they're able to leverage AI so that they can drive more conversions for the business. So you've got to understand what hat you're wearing, right? If you're wearing the hat of an entrepreneur or as a marketer, what you're looking to do is, how do I leverage these new... I think a lot of people, it's a great question, sir. A lot of people are already taking baby steps in that direction, right? Be it, say, a Myntra, for example. So a lot of brands have already taken this, a lot of marketplaces, everybody's trying to jump onto the AI bandwagon. They're saying that, you know what, I know you best. Bank Bazaar does this, right? I know you best. This, sir, is your most relevant credit card for your lifestyle, right? This is what you need to do. Bank Bazaar does this today, right? They're saying they're using AI for this. Everybody claims they're using AI. Myntra does this, wherein they're saying that, you know what, I know who you are. They have launched something called as Fashion GPT. I don't know how many of you have checked this out. Wherein they're saying that, you know what, you give me some information about what you're looking for, something about yourself. If you're already an existing customer of Myntra, they already know about you. And if you have a strong purchase history, and they will actually recommend, they become your personal stylist. They actually recommend the right kind of products that you should actually buy. So this is already taking shape, you're absolutely right. But your earlier point, which is also interesting, there are privacy concerns as well, right, with this growth which is happening. So, which is why there is this entire movement towards abolishing third-party cookies. Cookies are essentially small pieces of JavaScript code again that reside on your device, be it a laptop, be it a mobile phone, be it an iPad, whatever you're using, which essentially, like I said, has that your digital imprint horoscope is actually embedded within that cookie. That's what all brands and advertising platforms use for targeting and hyper-targeting. You can choose, so there is this new ruling that's come in that says that platforms like Google, like Facebook, should not be allowed to use these third-party cookies to target. Which will be bad news for, it depends whether it's good news or bad news, depends on which camp you're sitting in. Now, if you are a customer, as a consumer, if you're playing that role, it's probably a great thing because you feel that there is less snooping of what you're doing. If you are a marketer, or if you are a brand, if you are an entrepreneur who's looking to sell to consumers, who's looking to drive more revenue and conversions, it's probably not such great news because it means that your marketing budget might not be as hardworking as what it used to be because you're not able to target that accurately. So it depends on which camp you're actually sitting in, whether that's good news or bad news. But of course, there are ways for you to turn it off as well, right? You can clear all your cookies, you can go incognito, you can clear your cache. Apple, for example, makes it very hard for advertisers. They don't share any, which is one of their USPs, right, as a brand. They say, we don't share your data, right? So there are options as well as consumers for you to take precautions. But thank you for your question. Yeah, make sure that there are enough guardrails built in, right? So the thing with AI is there has been this joke that there is actually a call for setting up a neutral body which can language models, the foundational AI models. A lot of these tools that I showed you here, they are just the front-facing tools that leverage in the back end the same foundational models, LLMs, right, which is created by OpenAI, which is Microsoft, you've got Google, you've got IBM, you've got Meta. There are like 4 or 5 large companies who have these foundational models. Everybody is using the same foundational models. But there is no neutral authority which can govern whether these brands are doing it right. A lot of these are self-governed. I think that will change, and that is something which will come through. But your larger point on privacy and user data being shared, which was the point that Sir also asked, there is a governance which is coming.
My concern is something more. I'm concerned, like for example, if I get a resume for seeking a job, I need to know whether it is generated or if I get an article or essay, I want to know whether it was handwritten or.
There are tools that allow you to identify that, but again, as the LLMs start getting more and more sophisticated, it's always going to be a game of cat and mouse. In fact, I can connect you with let's say there is a real question that you have. In the there is this startup, but the name slips my mind, which was incubated by the SP Jain's entrepreneurship cell, which does exactly this, right? Which tries to make sure there is no fabrication of data in the resume. While in addition, what they are also working with is the resume itself, especially because even if they try to improve their algorithm, no matter what happens, these LLMs also start getting smarter. Right, so no matter what you do, it's always catch up. So what they're saying is the resume as a format itself, just as a question, that itself might become redundant because people can make up whatever they want to on the resume.
So my question is the micro technology to trap it. I'm saying, is there a regulation where it says if it is a essay that is system AI generated, it should come with a signature saying generated by so and so AI?
No, needs to be. Which is the point I was making, right? There is a lot of this is self-regulated. That's something which needs to come in.
The proper security is provided. It may a problem to the customers end of the day. That's what.
So they are trained on publicly available data. They are never trained on the customer's proprietary data, and that is not made available to others. So the security aspect, as far as that is concerned, so if, for example, there is an LLM or that is being implemented for a particular customer, the data that it is trained, for example, like I said, I brought in the LLM that's trained on all of the world's knowledge, but it knows nothing about that particular customer. So when I start to train it in that particular customer's proprietary data, the guardrails are such that the data of the customer is just for that data alone. So if it's an enterprise, so ChatGPT, which you see, which is the B2C offering, there is a ChatGPT for enterprise, just as an example, which is a separate enterprise offering where a lot of these security guardrails that you spoke about are brought into play. Sorry, what was your first question? Which was on
authenticated source.
Authenticated source. So a lot of this is based on publicly available, verifiable information, right? A lot of this information is sourced from there and which is verified from multiple sources of truth. So just because it's available on a particular website, it doesn't become that source of truth. So for example, if you ask a question to a ChatGPT, for example, when it gives a result, it is usually summarized information from several sources of truth. And then it gives you that crystallized output. So it's not just because it's appeared on one particular website. Having said that, there are cases where it tends to hallucinate, as they call it, right? And it tends to give wrong answers. And this is always a work in progress. The new one, the ChatGPT 4 is a lot better.
Especially there are websites are cloned, maybe there are sources. That is where most of the many times we are facing that issue.
Sure. Yeah. But to me, one of the best use cases, this is a slight distraction, but to me, one of the best use cases of AI, and it's a great productivity unlocker, is GitHub Copilot. I don't know how many of you have used GitHub Copilot here. And there was this tweet that Satya Nadella made, which went viral, which essentially said that English is now going to become the new programming language, right? Because I don't know how many of you here have tried GitHub Copilot in your respective organizations. I see that some of you have. It's a big hit because it gives you compiled code in any language. So it's a big hit with developers, obviously. So the grunt work of them having to code has now gone away. It gives them really good code on which they just need to make a few tweaks, which frees up more time for innovation. It's a big hit with CFOs because if it's a 35% improvement in productivity, that's a direct impact on bottom line. So the CFOs love it as well. So that to me is going to be a fantastic use case. So programming, if it can make that kind of an impact. But the problem again is that it knows nothing about your company. So there again, you've got to coach it. You've got to coach it with enough data. You've got to train it with data. It doesn't know nothing about your IT architecture. Yeah, yes, sir. Wherein I think the role of the marketer and the human is A, to ask the right question, yes, and B, to make that, because the AI engine is still the smartest person, but they know nothing about your company. It's still either yourself as the entrepreneur or yourself as the marketer who knows enough about your business, who has that context about your company, who needs to make the right decision after seeing all of the data that the AI engine has given. So if you were not to do that, to me that is something that could be a mistake, wherein you rely so much on AI that you let it run the entire show. That could be a mistake.
We should not let the AI to decide.
Yeah. So like I said, right, even in the HealthifyMe example, if I were to launch that young mothers plan that I spoke about, if I were to just use AI for running their Facebook campaign, it will never work because it will target a completely wrong audience. But I understand it because I am a marketer who has that context. I know that I am targeting a late 20s, early 30s young woman who, if I were to use the AI engines, because it looks at historical data, and it's seen only 40 plus people typically converting, it's going to target 40 plus people only. My young mother's plan, if I were to use the AI engine, and I were to run it, it will never fly, because it will target a wrong audience. So in that case, I decided to set up a manual campaign on Facebook, myself, without any AI intervention.
That was a very exciting hour and a half plus of session, right? Though there are, like you said, AI tools where people could have asked these questions and got all the answers, we still prefer to talk to a human. And that shows that here, I think human intelligence and intuition and warmth is there to stay, and we learn better when we talk to a person than to a machine. So with that said, thank you so much for enriching all of us with this session, which brought all of us up to speed on the latest in marketing and AI. I personally enjoyed it because you also used the word inside out, which is closer to my heart. All right, now I'm going to call Dr. Mahesh Rao, the president of TiE Mysuru, and Mr. Pawan, the president-elect of TiE Mysuru, to please come forward and hand over a token of our appreciation to Mr. Veda.
Wonderful to see that we have so many charter members today. I think our count was something like about 15 charter members. That's good.
Absolutely. On another note, you referred to the base camp and the summit. Very proud to share with you that Dr. Usha Hegde from Mysore is the first one to have summited Mount Everest.
Oh wow!
It's a matter of pride for all of us.
Yeah.
All of us are like it.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mahesh Rao, Mr. Pawan, and Mr. Veda.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Have a nice evening.
I'm Shreya, and I take this privilege to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of TiE Mysuru. First and foremost, we express our sincere gratitude to our speaker, Mr. Vedanarayanan Vedantham, for the insightful session on AI and marketing. We have gained valuable knowledge about AI's role in customer acquisition, creative optimization, importance of data and real-time optimization, and effective targeting. Your clear examples of tools and explanation were incredibly enlightening. Thank you for your valuable presence, sir. We also deeply appreciate Dr. Mahesh Rao, President of TiE Mysuru, for his unwavering support in conducting TiE events. Your leadership is truly inspiring, sir. A special acknowledgement to the TiE board, volunteers and associate member, Mr. Adarsh Ramesh, for your outstanding support throughout this event. We would like to recognize all the charter members, associate members, student members, institutional partners, and all invitees and guests for your continuous presence and participation. Our heartfelt appreciation goes to our event partners, Infinity Events, marketing partners Inside Out, for your critical support in making this event happen. Finally, we extend our deepest thanks to our dear Executive Director, Mahesh Katale, for his active role in executing and ensuring the success of all our events. Once again, thank you everyone for contributing to the success of this event. Thank you.